This is also not accounting for the property and infrastructure damage that was caused by this fire.
This panel gap is so bad, it's a safety concern. Look, the door is closed and it's still gapping. And if I open it, and right here, you can see.
In May 2025, more than 10,000 brand new Cybertrucks are parked in open lots near Tesla's Gigafactory in Texas. Their stainless steel surfaces shimmer under the sun. But they aren't moving, they aren't delivered, and they aren't being sold. The total value of these vehicles is estimated to be nearly $800 million, and while the world expected this vehicle to be Tesla's next game changer, it has, at least for now, become a symbol of something else entirely, a moment of pause. A moment where ambition met resistance. Just a year before the rouse of unsold Cybertrucks began making headlines, Tesla's narrative was very different. It wasn't about oversupply, it wasn't about hesitation, it was about acceleration, technological visionary, and even philosophical. In 2024, Elon Musk was no longer positioning Tesla as just a car manufacturer. That stage was already considered complete. Tesla was to become something more, a platform for the post-industrial future, one that stretched across transportation, energy, robotics, and artificial intelligence. In Musk's words, Tesla would be the most important company on Earth for building the future of civilization. The Cybertruck was the flagship of this transformation. With its unpainted, angular stainless steel body, it was intentionally designed to look like nothing else on the road. Musk framed it as a vehicle you could take to the apocalypse and back. The hype was immense. Pre-orders had exceeded 1.5 million by late 2023, and the media dubbed it the iPhone moment for trucks. Internally, Tesla projected 250,000 units per year starting 2025. The Cybertruck would not only compete with Ford and Rivian, but redefine the entire category of utility vehicles. But the hardware was only the beginning. That same year, Tesla also introduced a more refined prototype of Optimus, its humanoid robot. The unveiling took place during AI Day, and later in a much publicized demonstration in Saudi Arabia, where Optimus danced on stage to the classic track YMCA. It was part theater, part proof of concept. Musk wasn't selling robots, he was selling a future. He predicted that humanoid robots would outnumber people within a few decades, and every home would eventually have one for work, care, or companionship. To support this vision, Tesla was also developing the infrastructure to tie everything together. The RoboTaxi network was being positioned as the next frontier of mobility, a self-driving AI-driven transportation grid, where Tesla owners could rent out their vehicles as autonomous taxis. Musk claimed this network could transform a depreciating asset into a passive income stream, turning a car into an investment. And the vision didn't stop with roads. Through Starlink, Tesla's sister company SpaceX aimed to connect remote regions with satellite internet powering autonomous vehicles, remote operations, and smart grids globally. Meanwhile, the Boring Company offered a solution for urban congestion, high-speed underground tunnels that would one day move passengers and cargo at scale, bypassing traditional traffic entirely. To complement it all, in mid-2023, Musk launched xAI, a new AI venture. It wasn't just another chatbot company. xAI promised to build a maximally truth-seeking artificial intelligence, one that could reason about the real world, uncover scientific truths, and eventually help us understand the very nature of existence. Together, these ventures formed what Musk and his supporters saw as a kind of technological renaissance, a unified ecosystem bold enough to tackle existential challenges like energy mobility, labor shortages, and the stagnation of human imagination. For investors, it was a bet on visionary synergy. For critics, it raised concerns about focus, feasibility, and execution capacity. But in that moment in late 2024, the optimism was still tangible. Tesla had weathered storms before. Why not believe in this next leap? That belief was real, it was global, and for a time it felt unstoppable. But even the most elegant visions, when pulled down from the whiteboard into the world, encounter friction. By early 2025, the edges of Tesla's momentum began to fray, not in a single catastrophic failure, but through the slow accumulation of setbacks, hesitations, and resistance from a world still catching up. It started with the Cybertruck itself. After years of anticipation, the reality of production and delivery proved far more complex than expected. Although thousands of units were manufactured, only about 6,500 Cybertrucks were delivered in Q1 of 2025, a fraction of internal expectations. And for many who did receive their trucks, the experience was uneven.
No bueno.
Some early adopters raised concerns about build quality, software bugs, awkward ergonomics, and the lack of promised functionality. More troubling were reports of safety issues such as the infamous powerful door closure mechanism, which reportedly injured users during normal operation. These weren't widespread failures, but they were loud and public. Tesla's customer support and return policies also came under scrutiny. In multiple documented cases, customers seeking to return or replace defective Cybertrucks were instead told to pursue action under local lemon laws, a legal remedy typically reserved for persistently malfunctioning vehicles. For a company built on brand loyalty and tech optimism, this shift in tone felt jarring. Meanwhile, a more subtle but symbolically significant blow came from the US Patent and Trademark Office, which rejected Tesla's application to trademark the term RoboTaxi. The reasoning: the name was too generic a functional description rather than a brandable product. It was a small detail, but one that highlighted the growing challenge of turning big, bold ideas into ownable, protectable businesses. And then came Europe. Once a bastion of Tesla's EV dominance, the European market entered a stark reversal. Sales data in early 2025 revealed sharp drops across several major economies. In France, sales dropped 59% year-over-year. In Sweden, deliveries plunged 81%, exacerbated by an ongoing labor dispute with a powerful trade union. In the Netherlands, sales fell 74%. In Switzerland, down 50%. The causes were layered: rising competition from European and Chinese EV makers, labor tensions, and growing political skepticism toward Musk's leadership style. But the consequences were clear. Tesla's declining market share also threatened a lesser-known but critical revenue stream: carbon credit sales. Under European carbon emissions frameworks, Tesla had historically earned hundreds of millions of dollars by selling excess clean credits to automakers with dirtier fleets. Fewer Tesla vehicles sold meant fewer credits generated, which translated directly into reduced financial cushion. At the same time, headlines began surfacing that some members of Tesla's board had suggested Musk step away from day-to-day leadership, a claim he quickly denied. But the fact that such speculation had made it into public discourse signaled a shift. Tesla, once seen as untouchable in its leadership and narrative control, was now a company being actively questioned from within. Across forums, analyst reports, and investor calls, one sentiment started to surface. Was Tesla spreading itself too thin, with projects in humanoid robotics, self-driving taxis, AI models, global internet infrastructure, solar batteries, tunnels, and EVs? Could even a company as agile as Tesla maintain excellence across all fronts? It wasn't just about capability, it was about timing. Visionary innovation isn't just about being early, it's about being right on time. And for the first time in over a decade, the clock seemed to be ticking against Tesla, not with it. As the Western world raised questions, Elon Musk turned his gaze elsewhere, toward a region more willing to embrace risk, more flush with capital, and more aligned with grand futuristic ambitions: the Middle East. In early 2025, Musk made headlines once again, not for product recalls or factory bottlenecks, but for standing shoulder to shoulder with Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman and former US President Donald Trump at a high-profile economic and technology forum in Riyadh. The event brought together some of the world's most powerful political and corporate figures, and Musk used the stage to pivot the Tesla narrative. Rather than defend what had gone wrong, he doubled down on what was still possible. The centerpiece of his presentation was Tesla Optimus, the company's humanoid robot, which stepped onto the stage and danced to a remix of YMCA. The moment was theatrical but intentional. It was a statement. While some laughed, Musk saw utility and, more importantly, inevitability. He explained that in the coming decades, humanoid robots would outnumber humans. They would replace dangerous, repetitive, and even emotional labor. And Tesla, he said, was uniquely positioned to lead that transition, not just with hardware, but with neural networks, real-world data, and full-stack AI control. Beyond robotics, Musk also outlined Tesla's commitment to RoboTaxi deployment in the kingdom, leveraging the region's infrastructure ambitions and relative regulatory flexibility to accelerate real-world testing. In regions where union negotiations or municipal restrictions were less of a barrier, Tesla could test, fail, iterate, and eventually deploy with speed. Just as important was the announcement that Starlink had been granted operational approval for aviation and maritime use in Saudi Arabia. This was a major step. It positioned SpaceX's satellite network not only as an internet provider, but as a backbone for future autonomous mobility, AI operations, and remote infrastructure control. Even the Boring Company, often dismissed as a side project in the US, found new relevance in this context. Musk pitched the idea of underground transit tunnels in high-density Gulf cities not as a gimmick, but as a practical solution to congestion, land scarcity, and air pollution. At the heart of all this was xAI, Musk's new artificial intelligence startup. Launched in 2023 with the stated goal of building a maximally truth-seeking AI, xAI promised to be more than just another chatbot competitor. It aimed to understand the universe itself, and in the process reimagine everything from science to ethics to decision-making. Saudi Arabia, flush with sovereign wealth and eager to diversify its economy beyond oil, welcomed these ambitions. In Musk, the kingdom saw a partner who could deliver infrastructure, hardware, and futuristic storytelling all at once. In Saudi Arabia, Musk found what many Western markets had started to withhold: patient capital and political will. But this pivot was not without context. Other ambitious mega projects had passed through the region, some like the Stargate Data Infrastructure Initiative had already faded. Despite lofty announcements involving names like SoftBank, Oracle, and Trump, Stargate was quietly shelved within months due to lack of committed capital and practical feasibility. That only made Tesla's pivot more critical. Musk was not just selling cars anymore. He was selling visionary implementation at scale, a package that included robotics, transportation, internet, and artificial intelligence, all converging in one geographic testbed. For Tesla, this was an opportunity to reset the narrative, not to escape scrutiny, but to find traction. And in 2025, that traction, that rare alignment of vision, urgency, and investment appetite appeared to be shifting east. As the dust settles on ambitious announcements, complex markets, and shifting global alliances, the image remains. Over 10,000 Cybertrucks parked in long, silent rows under the Texas sun, untouched, unsold, and unmoved. They are not just inventory. They are symbols of aspiration and friction, of speed and stall, of the delicate balance between being ahead of the curve and losing contact with the road. Tesla has never been a conventional company. It was never meant to be. From the beginning, it thrived on disruption, on proving that electric cars could be desirable, that solar power could be scalable, that rockets could land themselves, and that one company could stretch across energy, transport, and now artificial intelligence. But 2025 is different. Not because the dream is gone, but because the dream is now being measured. For the first time in a long time, Tesla is being asked not just to imagine, but to deliver across a growing and interconnected web of expectations. Can it meet production goals while preserving quality and customer trust? Can it scale robotics and AI in a world increasingly concerned with safety, labor, and ethics? Can it maintain momentum across continents while navigating political, legal, and social complexity?